Hi, I'm Jose, and welcome to Havana Springs. So we currently sit on 50 acres. On property, we have 10 structures. 7 of the 10 were actually moved on site from the surrounding areas. What really makes this unique is in addition to having a tree ceremony and a reception, we have 13 guest rooms that can accommodate up to 34 people. So instead of just a 4-hour reception, you can really make this a wedding weekend for your closest friends and family. What we'll do today is we'll start off in our shady rest space, then we'll walk over to the ceremony site, give you a feel for what a ceremony looks like here. Then we'll walk into 1 or 2 of the guest rooms, give you a feel for their personalities. Then we'll loop around into what I like to call the courtyard, where we'll check out the bridal suite. And we'll end in a very special space that I like to call the Grooms Lounge. Let's get started. So this area out here is used 1 or 2 different ways. Most commonly, it's used for an outdoor cocktail area for cocktail hour while the bride and the groom are taking photos. And when that's the case, we set up some high top tables and your guest can eat some hors d'oeuvres and drink some drinks while the bride and the groom are taking their photos. But most recently, we acquired a black and white dance floor, and it's become a really popular spot for an outdoor dance floor. And when that option is leveraged, the DJ will set up in the middle of those 2 columns, put a speaker to the right, a speaker to the left, and your guest can dance under the Edison lights on those beautiful fall and spring Saturdays. So the Shady Rest was built in 1927 or 1925, depending on who you ask. It was moved here from 3 miles down the road, where it was an old honky-tonk bar. But now it's our largest reception space. Let's check it out. Welcome to the Shady Rest. This space here has over 3,000 square feet that you can use and design however you'd like. But most importantly, it's fully climate controlled. So no matter what the temperature is outside, you and your guest are extremely comfortable. In addition, this space comes with all tables and white chairs included in your rental price. We also have gold Chiavari chairs available as an option. This area here is generally where we set up all tables and chairs. We can accommodate between 150 in this area super comfortably. Within the entire space, anywhere from 175 to 225 if you wanted to do an indoor-outdoor feel. So now we're gonna head over to the other side where a lot of the magic happens. So when we bought this property 2 years ago, one of the first things we wanted to do was redo this bar. So we blasted out the walls, built this incredible wraparound bar, and decorated it with the design in mind of the Roaring 20s to really match the building's age and when it was constructed. This area is exclusively used by Havana Springs. So this area here is where the catering sets up. We do have our preferred in-house caterer. They're the only ones that leverage our kitchen. Now you're not obligated to use them, but if you use an outside caterer, we ask that the food is prepared off-site, brought on-site, ready to be served. We set up 2 6-foot rectangular tables here. So then the workflow becomes your guests come from the opposite side, come over here, grab a plate, wrap around the tables, grab a drink if they're into that, and head back over. So this area here is where a lot of the memories are made, and that's the indoor dance floor. When this option is used, the DJ sets up along that back wall here, and this entire area becomes the indoor space for your movers and shakers. If you've got a large group of dancers, we'll close these doors and make entry and exit on the other side of the building. All right, so now that you've seen Shady Rest, let's walk over to our ceremony site where I can show you our gorgeous live oak tree. So for the tree ceremony, this is the general setup. The bride would leverage the heart pine guest room. And when the ceremony starts, the double doors would open, she'd walk down the brick stairs, wrap around the white fence, and head down the aisle, walking directly towards the tree. It's an impactful statement that your guest will be sure to remember. So the house behind me was built in 1880, and we call it the Salem House. Now we call it the Salem House because it was moved from Salem Road, not because of the Salem witch trials. This house has 4 guest rooms. Each guest room has its own entry and exit, so you don't have to walk into one room to get into the other. In addition to that, each guest room has its own mini fridge, microwave, Keurig, and most importantly, internet. What we're gonna do now is walk into a couple of the guest rooms to kind of give you a feel for their personalities. Welcome to Heart Pine. So when we purchased the property, my wife said, we need a bridal suite. So I said, well, we've got Heart Pine up front. She goes, no, Heart Pine is great, but it's a guest room. We need a place for the bride and the bridesmaids to really feel like a princess the day of the wedding. So I learned early on, happy wife, happy life. So I had to figure out how the heck I was gonna make this happen. So I looked at all of our buildings, and this one here for the last 30 years was used for storage. So this was gonna be the candidate to make this happen. But before we started construction, I had to pull 3 30-yard containers full of junk. But my wife got what she wanted. Welcome to the Bridal Suite. So this space has a little bit for everyone. Starting off here, we've got our living area, a place for the bride and the bridesmaids to kind of hang out, drinking their mimosas or bellinis while getting ready for the big day. Then moving further down the space, we've got our platform area, the space for the bride to show off her beautiful dress in front of these gorgeous mirrors under the beautiful chandelier. But this chair here is pretty special, and I like to call it the parents' chair. It's generally where the parents sit with a box of Kleenex, watching their daughter getting ready for the big day. Moving towards the back of the space, we've got the area for hair and makeup. My wife, being a former makeup artist, took a lot of pride in designing this. She wanted it to be spacious, so you didn't feel claustrophobic, and she wanted to have multiple outlets on different circuits, so hair and makeup and all of the machines didn't blow out the breakers while the bride is getting ready. And then in this space here, we've got a full restroom. So in this space, it's all about the little details. After making it beautiful, my wife said, the space is great, but I don't want it to be dry. So she went ahead and purchased this vintage musical instrument that's actually a Bluetooth speaker, so you can play music while getting ready. In addition to that, there are hooks galore, places to hang the bridesmaid's dress, and of course, the wedding dress. There's also a space to hang your bags and purses, so the space doesn't get cluttered the day of the wedding. And last, but certainly not least, we have this wine or champagne cart for your mimosas or bellinis. So the last and final stop on our tour today is in the Grooms Lounge. But before we get there, I'd love to tell you a little bit about our other buildings on site. So the one directly behind me is called the Littman House. It was built in 1890 and moved here from Littman Road, 4 miles away. Early on, I mentioned there are 10 structures on property. 7 were moved on site, so that leaves 3 original. Original 1 is an old tobacco barn back there. Original 2 is this structure right here. We call it the couple's cottage. It's our only standalone building, has a deck in the back that overlooks the spring. And original 3 is where we're headed to next. It's called the Nicholson House, built in 1828, and it's incredible. We've transitioned part of it into the Grooms Lounge. Let's check it out. So this space right here is the complete opposite of everything you've seen today. All of the other buildings are light and bright and beautiful, and this space is darker and more masculine. Here we have leather Chesterfield couches, so the groom and the groomsmen can lounge before getting ready. Back here we have an old bar, so the guys can prepare an old-fashioned, whiskey or scotch, whatever they're into. And in this back corner, we've got an old poker table, so you can play some poker and alleviate some stress before walking down the aisle. And most importantly, we've got the 70-inch. So on those fall Saturdays, you can watch your Seminoles kick some tail. That concludes our tour. I hope you enjoyed it. For more information on pricing and availability, please reach out at info@havanasprings.com. We look forward to being a small part of your big day.